You must like me.
Fuck is that blue dot? Oh, what the fuck? The fuck is this shit? So just off the start, there's no downside to starting pretty much anywhere on this fucking map, right? You can start wherever the fuck you want. Starting here is not bad because usually people run shields, they set up on cart, so sometimes you can get a side pick angle. If you're gonna do this, you might as well look through the door frame. Like, start and then go look through the door frame. Because let's say like a Widow jumps out here while you're scoping here. You're pretty fucked unless they miss. You won't know that they're picking. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna have a bad time.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Like this whole, see how you were nervous and you looked left? You're nervous because you should be.
Stop the payload.
Like that triggered and you panic and dip. Like, yeah, you should be. That ball's a dumbass. Light critique right here. You see how you triggered your trap and you hooked the fuck out? Look to see what triggered your trap first. See if it's worth blowing a 12-second cooldown. Because in reality, this ball, if he didn't suck, he could have swung further, landed on you, killed you and your Mercy. All because you don't have a hook cooldown anymore. Because you decided to blow that shit. Venom Mine put back on the choke to make sure you don't get flanked, because right now you have no peace in mind anymore. You broke shields, your hook's off cooldown. You knew that Genji was dead and Ball is dead. While it's still safe, waste your hook cooldown to take control of high ground behind you. Because now you can't go to high ground because they're going to be back in play and wasting your hook will get you killed. Good, you did that. But do you see how you did it to the point where you had to already drop down because Ball's already back? That's what I mean by doing it sooner. Venom Mine's in good spot, or adequate spot. Can I make this quality not hot fucking garbage? No? Okay. So right there, the Ball's dead. The Genji's occupied. Your team's pushed up. They're going to start pushing back more. Hook up. Get more aggressive with your team. You have a Mercy pocket. The Genji's not going to solo you down.
No one can hide from my sight.
There's no need to pop walls there because you just picked the Mercy. There are other supports of Moira. You were getting shot by the Hanzo, so you already knew where he was. Popping walls was unnecessary. Wasting hook was unnecessary. Because now you have vision up, but how are you going to take advantage of it? In fact, with walls, you're doing the same thing you were doing without walls. You're still looking at the same sight line. You're playing as if you don't have a pocket Mercy.
Let the dragon consume you.
That Genji, you saw him flanking through vision the entire time. See, there's Genji. There's Genji. There's Genji still flanking. There's Genji flanking. There's Genji flanking again. There's Genji flanking again. So not only did you waste walls, you didn't use them when you had them. You blew hook on the ground right here, which should have gotten you killed. If you're gonna hook, especially as an escape, at least go into the air. So you could have went back up where this Genji came from. But right now, like, this ball should land on you and you should collapse and die. This enemy team's straight dog shit. You needed to land in the window with that hook, but do you see how you burnt a hook just then for no reason? You weren't in any danger. You used the hook because you wanted vision, right? Which means you needed to land in the window for vision. Since you failed to land in the hook in the window for vision, you're now vulnerable for 12 seconds. This ball should fucking kill you. The ball is garbage. You knew Hanzo was there, and you let him. Also, that entire fight, your Venom Mine would have been helpful. Since the fight has shifted, your Venom Mine was still at the choke. That was the last place you put it. But since the fight's pushed up, this Venom Mine's no longer useful. So now you either want it on the mini for flanks, above you for flanks, or behind you. Like, what would have helped you is not knowing they're leaving spawn. It would have helped you knowing that they're coming from the mini here, which is what got you killed. Like right there, you saw the Hanzo and you saw him shoot, and you didn't look at him. You saw him shoot again at you. You see him, right? And then you die for it. I didn't say my coaching would be polite, for the record. This is why I don't do coaching. I'm just explaining what I see and why I see it. Chat, don't be rude. I'm just saying what I see and how I see it. Usually when you're dead, the replay system, I could be wrong. Wherever you look, it shows you. Make sure you're looking for information right here. You should be looking to see where people are going, why they're going there, so you can call it out.
Let's try that again.
This hook is fine, but now if you want to cross the bridge to help with contesting at any point, you can't. Seeing as how your Orisa's here and your ball is likely going to be able to touch if he survives and gets healing, instead of hooking up, since there's no need to do it, start crossing and use your hook to get the bridge and create pressure from behind so your two tanks can take the point. You pushing up with the tanks just creates a revolutionary war fight, and it's not going to help. That Mercy's dog shit, which is the only reason you got value out of this.
Talon will be eliminated.
You see how your tank died? And your other tank was useless, and they got that cart? Right? If you were able to get behind them and create pressure, the Hanzo and the Genji wouldn't have been able to do damage to your tank. They would have had to deal with you instead, which could have bought time for him to get healing and survive. Zobs, ignore chat. You asked me, right? Ignore them. At this point, you start getting the fuck out. You look for picks while you can to try to help your team, but realistically, you get the fuck out because these two can dive you.
Amplification matrix.
No one can hide.
Walls were useless because you guys are running away and you're down a player. Walls might help you stay alive, but realistically any pick they get isn't going to net them any significant value. You just lost walls, which is going to help with the next fight. Right now I would be backing up and I'd be wondering, where do I need to put this mine?
My sight.
It's another scenario where you hooked the ground. If they dove you, you were fucked. Try to get in the air. You're pushing up without hook cooldown, which makes you vulnerable. Now you're trapped by a split dragon. Their Hanzo overextended. Another really bad hook. You still don't have a Venom Mine on flank. Get off the low ground, get another angle. Their team's here, your team's here, you're creating Revolutionary War again. Get into the window, get into the side over here. Get up into this window, it doesn't matter, but get off the ground behind your team. That hook is adequate, but useless. Or that mine, rather. Stop hooking the ground. Get off the ground. Stop hooking the ground. That's a useless mine. You have no cooldowns. That Genji should kill you if he's not garbage. He's garbage. So this whole fight, right? It would look like, oh, there's nothing I can do, right? There's nothing I can do. But in reality, you had the power to prevent all of this. By being right here, this allowed them to keep pressuring your team to here. Because in reality, you're not a threat. If you were here, or even here, right? They might, the Hanzo or the Ball, or even Orisa, might use a cooldown to try to attack you, or pull you down, or do something where your tanks can take some sort of advantage. Especially after you'd gotten this pick right here on the Hanzo. What I would have done after that pick, I would have blown my hook cooldown. And I would have looked for a flank shot, something that would have taken resources for them to come look for me, whether it's on high ground or the stairs, and bought an extra 10, 15 seconds off the clock. And maybe you would have gotten another pick. But instead, you used the time for this whole pick to just chill behind the shield. You didn't really make much of a threat. You got the Ball, which is good, so same concept, now get back up there. But since you didn't, they regrouped, they pushed you guys back, until they were ready to blade. No value. So this would look like it's your team's fault, but in reality, you had a control of the situation. And these picks are ultimately useless because there's no contest happening.
The dragon consume
Heroes never die.
you! Let them up!
There shouldn't be a contest happening. I don't know how they fucked this up. You're fine, Zobs. I'm not judging you personally, like, at a personal level. I'm just judging the gameplay for what I'm seeing. I don't know how this enemy team fucked it up, but this shouldn't have happened. In reality, this is like... There's a term for this, I can't remember. You caused this scenario, and then they fucked it up, the enemy team, and then it looks like you're the hero of the situation. But you're the hero of the situation you created. So don't be too happy.
Healing.
Do not contact emergency services.
No one can hide from my sight.
Get behind the barrier.
Damage and
You see how you got those picks and you went into the window? This is good. That's unfortunate. When you were here,
Do not contact emergency services.
no one can
those walls were bad because everyone's dead. And not everyone's alive yet. So you know they're not regrouped. You got lucky
hide from my sight.
right there that he switched to Widow. In reality, you needed to wait for them to regroup more. And pretty much what you should have done this fight here, you guys wipe them, yes?
I'm on fire.
You should have already been hooking up to high ground to see when the regroup is happening. But instead, like right here, you're typing or you're doing something else. You're obviously distracted right there.
No one can hide from
The vision you didn't need to pop. You could have already hooked up. You could have seen all of this as they're coming out. And then when they got here, you could have popped walls. You got lucky that he switched to Widow now. If he had switched to Widow any sooner, then you should have popped walls after you knew there was a Widow. Because usually when they go Widow and then you pop walls, that Widow goes, fuck, I can't do anything for the next 10 seconds. This sucks ass. Also, you shouldn't have fought that and lost. One, you took the shot. You see him, you shot. You know that he sees you. Do you see how you're not on the target yet? Where's the speed button on this fucking thing? Here we go. You see how your crosshair isn't even near the head yet? And you've already come out, and now you're trying to aim? That's where you fucked up. This shot, you should be zooming in on him already. You should already be lined up here. So when you strafe left, it taps him. Because your crosshair, I know it's fucking hard with all the pixels, but your crosshair is this. It should be already on his head, strafing to shoot him. But instead, you had to aim once you peeked out, and as a result, you missed and got domed. So I guarantee you, his crosshair was waiting for your head right here. That got you killed. That gave them free clearance to cross bridge, and now your Mercy has to blow a cooldown to res you. And on top of that, the enemy team knows exactly where your fucking Mercy is. So Orisa, if she wanted to be a dick, could either pull here or here and yoink your Mercy out, and Sigma could rock her, and she's fucked. Can I fucking play this back? Thank you. The fact that your Mercy got away with the res shows that both their tanks don't know what they're doing yet. Or they're Genji. You used a hook to get behind the shield. Not a terrible idea because you were out of position. In reality, though, you didn't really have to give up, like you didn't really have to use it yet. You could have just went up top and jumped. You could have used it if you got pulled, but it's a minor thing. It's not a big deal. That Mercy, again, that fucking Mercy is throwing, unintentionally with poor positioning. But you're on low ground. Playing behind your Orisa shield, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. But you don't want to play on low ground behind your Orisa shield when they have an Orisa. Because when that bitch sends her mini grav above your shield, this guy ain't going, because he's going to shift the first one. So chances are your ass is going. You finally threw your mind to watch the flank. That's good. You're backing up because you realize the threat of being behind the shield. That's good. Your Roadhog should be heading up here now, by the way, to deal with this Hanzo, to deny a high ground, as well as just to coordinate with these poles. So you're shooting shields here. You lost to your Orisa. Your sightline was going to blow from right here. Option A, take a sightline over here more risky that's around the shield. Option B, take a sightline here that's more risky that can see right here where there's no shield. Ultra big dick option to try to salvage the game since your main tank decided to throw. Jump the wall, try and get a fucking pick and save this fight. Or continue where you're at and try and get something and hope the enemy team makes a misplay. That was a wasted hook. Nothing stops them from taking you. So since you hooked, right? If you don't know where the Widow is, or they don't know where you are, the moment you shot there, that Widow knew exactly where you were, and you didn't know where she was. That's why you died. You gave your position away.
Just what I needed.
At this point, you should be considering, are you getting value out of Widow? In your brain, you're going to say, yeah, I am. That second fight for second point, I saved the point. After the Genji bladed, I got 2 picks. Our team respawned. We came back. We won the retake. But again, in reality, that fight happened because of you. The retake that you won because of you, all it did was equal out a thing that never should have fucking happened. So in reality, no, there isn't value. They took first without any issues. They took second without any issues. Now you're on third. You should be on Mei. This is a good off angle. Why is she here? What? The other reason you should be on Mei is because on top of not getting value, your Mercy is on you, which is bad. This Mercy should be on this Hanzo, helping break shields, since there's 2 of them. But not only are you not getting as much done as you should, you're also taking away your main support. So like this entire duel that you're like dicking with this Moira right now, this is their Moira taking you and Mercy out of the fight. Out of the fight, out of the fight, out of the fight. Who do you think wins between these 5 and these 4? This doesn't end well for you. Now you have your BAP also trying to help you. So you have none, none, and none. And as a result, your fucking main tank just died. Because you have both supports with you. If you were on Mei and you were with your team, they wouldn't have had to stop looking at your Orisa. That Moira, if you had killed her, your Hanzo wouldn't have just suicided and inted into her like an idiot. And you're back to shooting at shields. Meanwhile, while you're shooting at shields, your Mercy is really confident in you. And your BAP dies. Enemy popped walls. You're fucked. You had to blow hook to try to stay alive. You shouldn't have retaken this fight because you missed and she knew where you were. You got lucky because you're both bad. This entire third point you got no value, same as second and first.
Let the dragon consume you. Let them up.
Rendez-vous avec la mort.
You should be switching to a stall character. You're down 2, they're down 2. Mei. You're not going to be able to do anything here. If you do, it's because they played it poorly. You're being zoned out. You're not able to contribute, and you die. That's why you should have went Mei. He's not coaching, he's flaming. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to stay here. I said I would review a VOD. I'm reviewing it. So that's start to finish.
Complete. Score 0.
This is why defense Widow is hard. Offense Widow is significantly easier.
Ready for battle.
One kill.
Mission to identify.
Everyone sign their life.
Also, some of the opinions in chat, this is why I've never done coaching for people and why I won't do it. Thankfully, Zob can take my feedback, but there's a lot of people that couldn't. Alright, right here. Keep in mind again, you're taking this Mercy. You know there's a Pharah. You look for the Widow and you miss. I see this a lot. You can't do this. You see how you take this fight, right? You took the fight and you missed. 1, you shouldn't have jumped. 2, you shouldn't have missed. 3, after the miss, you shouldn't have fucking repeat. Because she's still scoped in and she didn't shoot, which means she has higher charge than you, which means she wins. You only repeat that fight if you know that guy sucks and you don't. So now your Mercy's not going to be able to heal. And she can't res. You're taking the duel again on a target that's already scoped in, high charge. She shouldn't have missed this. You should be dead again. I don't know why you're not looking at Pharah. Right there, you could have killed Pharah. You looked at a Mercy, right? You see the yellow beam, so you know the Pharah has to cross back. Because you already know like which one's Mercy, right? Like you look, you see Mercy. You scope in and see Mercy. You know there's someone over there. You know it's a Pharah because there's a rocket. But you don't look for the cross. And when she does cross, you look away. This is a wasted hook for an angle that will provide you no impact. Now you have nothing and you're stuck behind your team. You could have hooked up, you could have hooked up, you could have hooked up, you could have hooked up. And now your team has no pressure because you're stuck.
Let them up.
You're lucky that Alpha just carried and he killed both DPS. How he did that without the Mercy or without your pressure? Oh, he has the Mercy. I don't know. That kill was only enabled because they lost their DPS. Sigma should die. He's out of position horribly. You know both DPS are dead, right? You knew that right here. You saw him kill the Pharah and the Widow. You should be hooking up here. You should be taking an aggressive sightline this whole time. In fact, you should be going even more aggressive. Fuck the tanks, right? You don't need to be here for any of this fight. You already know that these guys are going to win this fight because you have a DPS and they don't. Yeah, he eventually dies to Sigma. It doesn't matter. You should be pushing through this hall, and you should be looking for a spawn kill on that Pharah or that Widow. Like right now, you're helping a fight that you already have won. But the better way to help would be to figure out where the fuck these guys are and where they're coming from and what's happening. Like right now, you don't need to be behind your shield. You should flank left. You should get an off angle right now. You don't need to be with your team. Flanking right isn't helpful. One, you burnt hook. Two, these two don't need you behind a shield shooting into a Sigma Orisa shield. And it got you killed. Which, if you had gone left, you might have been able to have spawn killed that Widow or the other DPS, and this situation would have never happened. So far, you're a minute and a half almost in, and your impact is, in my opinion, negligible. You should be on Mei. Thank you for the fucking 100 donation. Why won't you coach me? You're ridiculous. I love you, dude. Perhaps another time. I want to do this one off. Let me get through this. You killed Sigma. Sigma's in a poor position. He shouldn't have done that in the first place because you guys have a hog. But whatever. Like, this fight's lost. So this fight's lost. You could hook out like you did. Or alternatively, you could hook and flank. Realistically, since you're at 65% ult, you know that their Widow's going to be higher ult than you. So flanking is going to get you killed. So it's a good thing you didn't do it. Now, if this Widow's smart, she shouldn't fucking pop ult yet. Because you guys just lost the fight.
Let's get you back out there.
That Widow's smart.
Damage amplified.
You must like me.
She popped walls once you were all respawned and regrouping. Now you're way more oppressed. And now you have to play on your tank's ass, living in fear. That was so risky and would have been awful. Oh man. You know she has walls. And you know she's there because she shot. You jumped. You didn't even look at the bullet trail. If you're already at 89, what do you think she's at? She's been past 63. Been past it. She would have had no problem killing you right now. And if she did kill you and your Mercy was alive, that's a fucking res cooldown wasted again. And possibly even a lamp to get away with it. And then you re-peeked again. Stop it. Stop peeking it. Stop. Stop doing it. You have a hook. You have a hook and there's nothing to dive you. After that first peek right here, when you did this peek, where is it? Right here, right? She shoots. You don't aim at the bullet trail. This fight never should have happened, okay? But whatever. You peek it again. You shouldn't have done it again. Right. This whole time, you see how you use your hook to escape? After the first peek right here, this one, instead of peeking again, you should have hooked up on the building. Like right here. And you should have went for the pop shot. Since she doesn't have walls anymore. And she's too far away to hear the hook, really. But instead you blew your hook to come back. We're now over 2 minutes into the round and you're just now getting ult. Meanwhile, 2 minutes into the round, the only place that you've been on the map is here. You haven't used highs, you haven't used the flank, and you haven't used the flank. So a while back I talked in Paint about when something isn't working when you're on Widow, it means you have to try something else. So you can try your Civil War style head-on fight. If that's not working, you try the flank from this angle. That's not working, you try the flank from this angle. That's not working, you try the hooks. You have to keep trying different styles until you figure out which one the enemy is vulnerable to. You're only doing the same thing repeatedly.
Merci. No one can hide from
You
my
popped vision, but you weren't ready to use it. So why did you pop vision if you're not ready to use it? My theory is you were nervous. Because this whole time right here, you keep looking at that right choke. What would make you a little less nervous about that right choke? If you put a Venom Mine there.
one can hide
But now you popped walls to cure your nervousness, but you're not ready to follow up with it.
from my sight.
You tried to go high ground one time, unlucky. This one I can't teach you. You have to aim better.
Heroes never die.
You finally went high ground. Good job.
Believe in me.
You landed on a Venom Mine. That's a solid fucking unlucky. Please stop peeking someone when they already see you. You got lucky that she sucks. You're out of the fight now pretty much permanently. There's a mini here and there's a mini there. Grab this mini, hook up, grab that mini, start shooting the angle again. But don't make your supports draw resources away from the frontline fight.
60 seconds remaining.
Let them up.
Don't burn your hook. You burnt your hook and you took resources away.
Face your resistance.
You remember you killed that Widow, right? You killed the Widow, but you're letting her come back to the fight uncontested. You could have went around this building and wrapped around and got the spawn kill on her. Alternatively, instead of wrapping around and drawing resources, right? When you were at 27 health right here and you're like wondering what the fuck to do with your life after killing her. You could have crossed, grabbed the Mega, and got the sightline.
60 seconds remaining.
Let them up.
Face your resistance.
So there you burnt hook. Widow's coming back now uncontested, and you took your Mercy away from the fight. You get challenged out of the fight. Widow's back. Widow should have killed you because she had superior sightline, and because she knew where you were and you didn't know where she was. You only got away with that because it's a bad Widow. The reason I say that is not to shit on you, but because you say this is like a 3,500 game, right? Versus 3,500. And you don't want to be 3,500, right? So when the game says, hey man, it's your time to rank up, and you play a 3,800 team, or a 4K team, and you play a better Widow, the better Widow isn't going to fucking miss this shot. It's going to kill you, and you're going to lose SR, and you're going to stay right fucking there. You mind? Thank you. You're going to end up staying right there. Wasted hook. Shooting shield. Not looking for the Widow that got revived. You should give credit for aim. I don't fucking give credit for doing the standard. You're playing Widow. You should be able to fucking aim. That fight's lost due to no pressure. So we're almost 4 minutes into this round and you've done 0.
No one can hide.
The walls are fine because they last the duration left in the game. But this is desperation at this point.
On my sight.
Don't jump against somebody. Get up there, man. Get aggressive. You should be ready to fucking use these walls.
Helden sterben nicht.
That Widow sucks ass because that Widow had walls and should have fucking known. This angle is bad. You shouldn't be here. You knew that Sigma was there, right? You see him. Which means his shield is right here. You know you're not going to get any value out of this, right? Because you know they're going to shield you off. You're on low ground. You know also that your team is coming from your right. Come left. Set up a crossfire. Say something positive? It's not my job. See how you got fucking shielded off? And you lost your value by the Sigma? I didn't see this VOD before, but I could tell you this was going to happen. And then you had to burn your hook. Now, to be fair, the same thing was going to happen here. But at least your team would have had a fighting chance because Sigma would have been putting resources. The enemy team would have been putting resources into you instead of them. Unfortunately, as harsh as it sounds, this entire match, your team was down a teammate. Your team was down 1 DPS the whole game. And almost their support the whole game. I don't say that to be a dick. I'm just telling you how it is.